Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grip Lock, Foundation Disc Golf Weekly Podcast. I'm Hunter, joined as always by Trevor and Konner. And yeah, we're back. We're not on the road for this episode, so your experience should be slightly better. Maybe. You might have liked the road ones better.
No, dude, there was nothing.
I don't know.
Nothing like it.
Quick note before we get into today's episode. Today's Konner's birthday, the big 26.
26
Congrats,
today.
Very excited stuff. We're going to a Mexican restaurant tonight. It's going to be fun.
Back started hurting more.
But yeah, be sure to comment on here, let Konner know happy 26th, and DM him, actually, on Instagram as well.
Yeah.
Let's flood his DMs. Let's do that. I want thousands of people.
I want to feel like Noah.
And send him free stuff, too. He said specifically he wanted to be sent free stuff for his birthday.
And just put attention, Hunter. I'll take care of it.
Actually, don't send him anything nice. Send him random objects from your home. Just like a stapler. Like just send him random things. It can just be like your leftovers.
Send him your right sock.
Yeah.
Or your left.
No.
Only random house objects. Nothing nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, the Dynamic Disc Open happened this past weekend. Let's get into some results, talk through some points, and then a bunch of storylines. Results, we'll start with the FPO. We had Kristen Tatar winning back-to-back tournaments now, taking it down again. Katrina Allen stormed back and came in second, lost by only one when it was all said and done. And then we had Ella Hansen and Emily Beach tying for third. On MPO, we had Ricky Wysocki running away with this thing. Simon Lizotte was able to have a good final round, sneak up into second place. And then we had a pretty big five-way tie for third between Vino McKellar, Aaron Gossage, Logan Harpole, Jason Ebenheimer, and Brody Smith. With Brody's first top three, I believe, at a Pro Tour event.
It might have been Harpole and
probably Harpole's as well.
Maybe Gossage.
Could be Vino McKellar as well.
It could be a bunch of. It could have
been all their first top threes. On the point side,
we got to talk about Calvin because people say we don't talk about Calvin.
Oh, Calvin. I guess let's talk about Calvin a little bit here.
I feel like
that's my bad.
That's gonna need to become a bit at this point.
We talk about Calvin every week. Let's go quickly into the Calvin highlight.
The Calvin respect segment.
Yeah, where we just talk about Calvin so that the comments can't say we don't talk about Calvin.
I think he came in.
You know what? We should
12th.
only talk about Calvin if he doesn't win.
Yeah.
If you search Dynamic Disc Open,
they shouldn't have turned us against him.
I love Calvin. I've never been turned against Calvin.
No, but they're trying to, it seems like.
No, they think we're against Calvin.
I don't know any problems with Calvin.
But you know what? It's fine. So Calvin Heimberg, the Calvin spotlight.
Where he at, though?
Gosh. Where is he?
I didn't watch any coverage this weekend, but I'm gonna refrain from asking that question that tore us apart before of how was the coverage. I'm not gonna ask it.
No, because we're gonna talk positively about it this time.
Okay, sick. I can't wait.
Oh, frick. I hit the wrong button.
I'm sure I'll find something else to accidentally drive a wedge between you guys.
Yeah.
There he is. Calvin Heimberg came in 10th.
10th place.
He shot even par. Even par.
On coverage.
Great job. Made the cut. Don't know what else to say about him.
Good job,
Calvin. Respect to Calvin, and there you go. We talked about Calvin Heimberg, and there it is. Points this week. So coming into the week, I was in the lead, and I don't have what the totals were, but Konner got 0 points for MPO for his predictions, got 6 points for FPO, though, which brings his total up to 43. I got 3 points for picking Ricky correct in MPO, 4 points for having Kristen correct, and Paige Pierce Katrina Allen in my top three, and I got the dark horse bonus because Konner.
Yes.
Contrary to what you believed about us, I did know what I was talking about, and Zacharias Johnson did beat both of y'all in the dark horse.
Yeah, take that.
You're right.
Also, he came
top
top 10 last year.
Never doubt us again.
Everyone can calm down.
I brought my lunch today. It's sitting in the fridge. It's my words. I'll be eating it later.
Cool that narrative. I forgot to.
So I have 53 total points now after my 9-point weekend, and then Trevor got 1 point in MPO and 4 points in FPO, which brings his total up to 34.
Good job, Trevor.
Here's the thing. I am not going to get worked up about this because
there's so much season left.
There's a lot of season, and this is legit just like probability at this point.
Yeah.
You're going to get on hot streaks, and like all I got to do is do well at one major, and I'm right back into it. So I'm not worried.
This was the first Pro Tour this season. I looked back through somewhat to make sure, and I believe I'm correct. This is the first Pro Tour or major this year where someone's ran away with it, to where Ricky ended up winning by I think it was 6.
The stage was set
but
for
the
him.
stage, yeah, it was
because he had
pretty
nobody
early in the round. You felt no one's catching Rick.
Well, yeah, and before the round started, you knew it was going to be a tall order because not necessarily because those guys behind him weren't capable, but the conditions were tough and his lead was sizable.
He had 4 strokes, I believe.
4 strokes, so that's a lot to make up on anybody, let alone Ricky, who is not only one of the best players, probably he's the best player in the world right now. He is. He's also very consistent. That's what it makes him, in my mind, the best player in the world. So
what's creative?
And the bucket hat, like, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
When a man rolls up,
I mean, he looked so sick in that bucket hat.
I mean, I've got to find a picture of the bucket hat.
When a man rolls up matching a bucket hat to his polo, you might as well not play.
I need that bucket hat.
There's no point in playing when Ricky rolled up. I almost tweeted it's over and then just closed out of the coverage. But I was like, I'll give it a look.
Unbelievable. Those are.
What was weird about this though to me was, once you got, like, Ricky was separated, once you got past Ricky, it was a jumbled mess the rest of the way. Like, everyone else was very close.
The only other guy,
score separation wise, and then you had Ricky just pulling ahead of the field.
Well, the only other guy you had, like, Dickerson was just a little too far off the pace to make any noise. Simon was there. Simon's been impressive this year. I want to shout out to Simon Lizotte because he's a new father, not getting any sleep. He's got the arm injury he's dealing with. He's rusty. He's not on tour as much. He's been pretty good this season. Like, he's very competitive. His new game that's, like, a lot smarter and safer is actually, like, showcasing the fact that he throws the disc really well. And also having a spin putt in that wind is very helpful.
Yes.
We got to talk about the Gannon Burr post. Did you write that down?
I didn't write that down. We'll add that. We have an Instagram post section.
Okay, yeah. Because there was some tomfoolery going down on Instagram.
Throw me that pin. I'll pin in Gannon Burr.
Just in case you're wondering, there are no pictures to be found on the internet of Ricky Wysocki wearing
The Pro Tour posted it.
Just go to his Instagram.
I went to his Instagram.
And the PDGA posted it.
I didn't see it. I'll go look on the PDGA.
I saw it this morning. I'm pretty sure the Pro Tour and the PDGA posted it.
Maybe it was on his Instagram story and he reposted it. Maybe that's how I saw it. But he had a matching bucket hat and polo.
Yeah, it was pretty sick.
With the dinos on it. Yeah, I saw it on his story.
Another definitely, actually, honestly, one of the bigger storylines of the event is Paul Macbeth missed the cut line for the first time in his total career, but definitely his professional career. That was set on coverage.
So weird.
That is a big deal.
It was bizarre. So
I just don't understand it.
The cut was at 47th plus ties. I believe Paul ended up in, like, 51st. And as far as I know, there's, like, nothing going on other than just a bad weekend.
I think what had to have happened, because, like, we weren't watching Paul on coverage because he wasn't being shown. But I saw the top players playing coverage, and yeah, it was super windy. But, like, if you're good at disc golf and you're throwing the right angles and you know how to play in the wind, which Paul
that's
does,
the thing, is everyone played in the same wind.
So it had to be it had to just be a lapse of mental toughness at some point.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming what happened is as it started to pile up on him, it must have just gotten so frustrating, and that must have led to the ultimate collapse. Because you can play in that wind. I mean, Ricky just shot 10 under par for the tournament in those conditions.
So round one, he was 2 strokes off the pace, and then he just fell off. But the thing that, like, makes me just confused, well, not even really confused, is if you look at the top guys, you have Ricky, Chris, Calvin, and then typically Paul. Those are, like, the top 4. Ricky, first place. Calvin, we just said, was 10th place. Chris Dickerson, 8th place.
Yeah.
So, like, those guys, even with the win, are still up there.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe he got hurt. I don't know. There's got to be something more to it, because, like,
I think
he is just too good at disc golf, though. Like, that's what confuses me, is, like, he is too good at disc golf to play that bad.
I think it might have just been a mixture of wind and just the mental toll.
I would just... Because, like,
Anthony Barella beat him, which does that mean
he gets the BMW?
Terry was very adamant about on coverage.
Yeah, dude. Terry was like
Terry's making sure that BMW is going to Anthony Barella.
AB owes Terry a few free lifts in that BMW, I think. And I honestly, I'm going to put this on the show right now. I will offer to drive the BMW to AB.
Okay.
So if you need,
that's so crazy.
If you need a middleman, because the BMW's here and AB's all the way in Arizona. I'm on a high coming off that last drive.
Just be clear, my official take is that I love the bucket hat. I think that.
Yeah. Okay.
I think
we're back to that.
I think that Ricky looks sick.
Yeah, it was great.
And also, I thought they were going to be like obnoxious dinosaurs, but they're like the little dinosaurs, and it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Unbeatable.
I mean, so outside of Paul missing the cut, not a lot of like shocking players missed the cut. No one else. I'm not scrolling through this list and being like, oh my word, like Albert Tam missed it, but like that happens. Zach Melton missed it. That happens. Like, there's a lot of guys that like can be up top, but can also be pretty low, and so it's not like a like Paul's the only one that missed the cut that wasn't a DNF. That's pretty shocking. That's the other thing too, is like when it was getting bad, if he was injured, you would have thought he DNF.
That's true.
Because GMC a few years ago, his ankle, I think it was, or whatever, or his back maybe, he DNF'd.
I don't know.
Like when necessary, you will DNF.
Have we seen an Instagram post yet?
No. Not that I've seen.
I want to know what's going on.
So we might have to add it to the Instagram segment if there is one. But that was obviously a shocking storyline. I think it speaks, A, to the randomness of the wind. Yes, but everyone else played in the wind, so you can't say anything about that. And B, I think just it speaks somewhat to how good the field is.
And it's one thing to like, there's a randomness to the wind. It's one thing to lose a few strokes to the field based on just getting unlucky with the wind, but you don't lose by that much. To the field.
No. Like if
you
had
to just flat out throw awful shots.
Like Calvin Heimberg coming in 10th. Something like that, where he's normally in the top 5 or whatever, or even like if he would have slipped down to 20th. Yeah, that could have a lot to do with the wind and just making a few mistakes here and there.
Right.
But like I said, when you have Calvin, Chris, and Ricky still coming in the top 10, then you can only say so much about the conditions because like the best guys were still in the top 10, minus Paul. So that was obviously a pretty shocking storyline that we were watching unfold. And, obviously I think that I like cuts. I like when cuts are there in general. I think it definitely made the round 3 more interesting because there was that battle at the cut line. And normally, if you're watching Paul, you're a Paul fan, or you're Paul himself, and you're that far down, you got nothing to care about. But now it's like, he might not even be able to play on the final day. Pretty wild stuff.
Cuts are sick. I wish this was a USDGC qualifying spot.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised it wasn't.
I don't know how they choose
pick, because like there's some random A tiers that are qualifiers.
Yeah, they just handpick them.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how they choose it.
I think it's very dumb to choose random A tiers and not have all of the pro tours. I don't know if there's reasoning behind that, but like it's the biggest stage, and you're gonna snub like you may have like all those guys that just came tied for third this might have been their best shot of getting a spot, and you might give a spot away to a guy who just showed up to an A tier that there wasn't that many people at. I think that's dumb.
It's weird, for sure. Well, we got to quickly talk about the commentary before we go into some other storylines, more so about the course than anything. But I personally, the commentary, as soon as I came in, you said something about it. You felt it was improved. I think a big part of why it was improved this week is the commentators were actually on course, which means
so they have a set like
they were in the clubhouse.
Okay,
they were in a booth in the clubhouse. But biggest thing that did was the condition context and the course context was never missed. Right. So they knew the course very well because Nate Dawson mentioned playing it multiple times and stuff like that, to where they had at least walked the course, seen it themselves, and it's not like, okay, I remember I've played it a few years ago, I got the caddy book in front of me, I kind of remember this or that.
Yeah.
When something happened, there was a lot of asking about like what's he looking at from there, what's his lie like, but there was a lot less of like, oh, is there OB over there? I didn't know that. Or oh wow, he's hyzering left. What's he gonna have over there? What's that like?
I wonder.
There was a lot less questions like that because even like you saw it as early as hole 1 on the final round with Brody threw his shot, his third shot I believe on the par 5, or no, his second shot on the par 5, and it looked like a fine shot on coverage. There's no way to really tell anything about it. But because they had played the course, Nate Dawson was able to immediately give us context of he's going to be a little pinched behind this tree that's going to cause a little bit of a tricky lie, and it gave a lot more stuff for him to bring value and talk about as the color commentator, which overall I think made the commentary experience a lot better. And I'll let you talk about Brian Earhart, who I think also helped kick that to the next level.
Yeah, Brian was incredible. So Brian Earhart was the on-course guy, and this is the first time he's done it before. This is the first time I really gotten a chance to listen to him, and he was money. Like, first of all, Nate Perkins was good. Nate Perkins was good when he was on because Nate Perkins was always in position, and that is just the foundation of that job, like what you need to do. And so Nate Perkins is good at that. Not only was Brian Earhart always in position, but his context that he was able to give for everybody's lies, what they were dealing with from where they landed was really good. It was very insightful. You heard things that you wouldn't just be able to draw the conclusion on your own, because sometimes that's kind of how that can be. But more importantly than that, he had inside scoop. He was listening to conversations that were happening by the card. He was bringing in information that he knew about those players to the booth when relevant. One example was Jake Hebenheimer had that unique step putt, that cornhole horseshoe style putt. And Brian Earhart had played previously with him and knew his story about that putt. So clearly he kind of told that to the booth, said, hey, call me in. I know that. And then that is perfect. Like, that's great. That's great background context that adds to what you're watching. He was perfect.
He also had a lot of information on Logan Harpool, who was also on lead card. It was somewhat a fortunate situation because we had so many players that weren't normally featured that there was a lot more information to cover than normal. But with that being said, he also was always ready with that information. Yeah. And because that's your typical sideline reporter. If you watch any other sport, is they throw it over to whoever and they're telling you what the coach said in the huddle. Yeah. They're telling you about, so-and-so left the field and he was limping a little bit. That's something they went over and asked the athletic trainer. It seems like blah, blah, blah. Like, the sideline reporter is able to be the person that provides extra context that the color commentator can't see and provide. And so this was one of the first times that I really saw that role developed and was like, okay, now the role felt like it was actually correctly used. Mm-hmm. Because like you were saying, he knew a lot about the lies, but he also knew a lot about what was going on the card and the players themselves throughout it all. And it made the coverage more enjoyable as well because, he was also be able to provide context about the crowd was rallying behind Logan Harpool as their local and stuff like that, to where you kind of started to get the vibe of the underdog story of him still being around, hanging around, being able to finish in third place. There was times where he was in solo second, kind of getting closer to Rick, and it just gave you more context because if we would have just watched and had no idea, just heard Logan Harpool's from the area, we wouldn't know if this guy's on tour or not or anything like that. We were able to hear a lot more about his story, not being on tour, special ed teacher, so on and so forth, and have a lot more context of why you should root for this guy type thing, which I enjoyed a lot more.
Yeah, and a big one I noticed of him being able to set the scene too was hole 16 in the FPO. After that all went down where Kristen runs her putt and then luckily it stays on the island and Kat runs it and goes out of bounds. Terry kind of asks, and Terry did a good job too asking the right questions. I think they figured out what we kind of said before that they need to do, I think they figured out, which is basically knowing where their on the course guy is. So Terry's never missing with his questions anymore. He's asking questions knowing that Brian knows the answer. Which is huge. Yeah. And he said, so what's the vibe like amongst the card after that hole? What's kind of going on?
Terry loves asking about the vibe of the card.
But, valid question in that case.
No, that's a very valid question.
And it does make it fun to watch.
And Brian was able to say, it's dead quiet. You could hear a pin drop. There's just a lot of tension right now after that just went, able to kind of set that scene in,
it helps build it for you at home. You start to feel that tension.
Yeah. I think after seeing that, all the other commentary people that I've seen, I like Terry. This crew in general is definitely the best. I like Terry the best because I think he sticks to his role the best, because I think for the play-by-play guy, you are never going to sit. Here's the thing. You're never going to sit a professional disc golfer in the booth in play-by-play and expect them to just stick to play-by-play, because they have way too much of a wealth of knowledge and pride in what they've accomplished to do that, and that's not their fault. Yeah. They're never going to stick to just play-by-play. Terry, that's been his role throughout his career, the interviewer, the guy who is in that play-by-play role. So he gets it. He also did commentary for a long time. And he does a good job in that. But I would say that Brian Earhart is the first guy I've seen on the commentary booth where I'm that is the no doubt everyday starter for that job. He is got to be the guy. I would say it would be great if you had him and Nate Perkins. You have one on each card.
One on Chase and one on lead.
Chase and one on lead. That's for sure an option, because I think Nate Perkins is good. But Brian Earhart is
Nate Perkins could be your kind of runner, because as you mentioned, a lot more agile.
He is very agile. I would say Brian Earhart slightly more out of breath. but he was in position.
So maybe Nate Perkins is your runner. He's going around the course. He was a wide receiver, I believe. So
there you go.
He probably runs like a mid 440. That could come in handy out there.
It could. But yeah, Brian Earhart is
something to think about.
Brian Earhart's a natural. He was very good. See, we are nice to the commentary when they're good. I just want people to know that.
That is very. There's so much encouragement in that section of this show.
And you know what?
What?
Being in a wide open course, that coverage was crystal clear.
Yeah.
I did not notice it getting blurry at all. And
nice.
So just know that it can be good.
Now, speaking of the courses, I saw a lot of people online complaining about the courses. I was trying to get an overall feel as to what they were complaining about. A lot of it was what you just said. Just the gist was it was boring to watch.
I think they're designed well, though.
It's tough. I think it's one of the courses that
it demands good shots.
A lot of people were saying it was boring because of the score. And I was like, that's not the case.
Yeah, no, I love that
because
stuff.
the score, well, the
Chop it up.
thing is, like, relative to par, like, if you just want to see a bunch of birdies, to me, it's way more boring to watch Memorial at Fountain Hills and just Heiserfest. And then people are shooting 17 under and no one's getting any separation.
You have to take it as relative to where now in this event, pars are like birdies. Like you have to do that in your mind. Like,
but it's also, I think part of it, I don't think the score is what made it feel boring. And I don't think it was necessarily the course design either.
It's the landscape.
I think part of it was the landscape and part of it was just like, I don't know. Open course can get boring, and both of the courses were, for the majority of the part, open. I feel like the way the course was designed was very challenging to the player, and I think what it was the challenge didn't come across the camera at all times.
Yeah,
so
I
like
get that.
the hole in itself didn't look that challenging when it was that challenging. If that makes sense, because like it's really easy for the challenge to come through the camera when it's wooded,
right?
Because it's like, oh, they got to do this.
That's a good take. Yeah,
when you're standing there and it's kind of open and it's challenging because of OB farther up the fairway or because of where you want your next shot to be placed. I think that's what kind of made it come across boring. It was hard, and I don't know what the answer is to that, because like I said, obviously day 2 and 3 it was tough to tell because all the wind.
Right.
But day 1 and day 4 we got to kind of get a good gist of kind of what Worlds will be like. And both of those days the scoring wasn't crazy. No one was getting like crazy hot rounds. But when it came to being boring to watch, I just think a big part of it, and I don't know if it's the commentary, I don't know where the solution is to help make the challenge come across to the viewer. But I think that's where it wasn't coming across, was the holes didn't look as challenging as they were. So people were struggling on holes that looked easy when they weren't easy.
No, I completely agree with that.
That makes sense.
I do think the landscape thing will look, I'll say this, that course is still a bit dead right now. Like all the grass was brown and just it was still dormant. So that course will look probably really pretty by the time Worlds rolls around.
That's in September.
Yeah, so it'll be green. So that'll help dramatically with as far as the appearance of the course, because it does kind of look like a bit of a wasteland out there when you're talking about playing on dormant grass.
Yeah.
And it's not as well manicured as a course like the Wild Horses in Vegas, so it's not even quite as well upkept there at Emporia Country Club. But I think the course design, both courses, course design were pretty solid.
Yeah.
And
it did sound like Eric McCabe was willing and looking at changes he could make before Worlds.
Yeah, and I'm sure
I'm sure some of the stuff will be fixed.
But
one of them that I hope, I'll let you go on. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say the course demanded so many good shots from the players, creative greens, creative OB placement. So I think it's a good course, but I think you're completely right. I think it is tough, especially if you haven't played a course like that. It's tough to kind of translate that to the viewer. The only way you're really able to do it is by really, really defining the OB from the tee shot, and they try to do that with the cuts of the grass. But like I think that'll look better in September when you can see the cuts of the grass.
Now
better.
that's something that's very interesting, because we'll talk about this later. We recently played Eagles Crossing, and what Eagles Crossing did was very visually great, where they have very tall stakes that were different colored. And I think that's a good option. Issue is in disc golf, the likeliness of a disc hitting a stake that high and staying in or getting kicked out is very high. And so it's a weird line, because like the best thing to have that doesn't interfere but is still visual is the little flags, but it's not quite visual enough for cameras. It's very visual for players. You can easily see it. You know exactly where it is. And if a disc hits it, it shouldn't affect the flight that much. But for a camera, that can get lost when you're 500 feet away and you're just like, whatever. The grass cutting is good. It's probably the best bet. But it's a weird line that I think our sport's going to have to figure out over the next few years, because even the rope at Winthrop it's good, very visual, can still affect shots.
Yeah.
And so you need something where it's very visual but doesn't affects as few shots as possible. And I don't quite know the answer to that.
I think the grass is probably the best. Like grass combined with like paint probably is the best option. The problem is you need quite a bit of disparity, and like with a golf course that's being used for golf, you only have whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
But I think you need like fairway cut grass or maybe a little bit longer, and then like pretty tall.
You need almost
grass
like knee high grass.
Not necessarily tall enough that it's gonna like
waist high
kick a disc back in bounds, or you're gonna lose it.
Let's use cornfields. 6 foot tall corn stalks.
Oh,
but it is tough because like
mazes in there.
Yeah, the stakes do look the best, but you're right. I mean, it is way too easy to hit a stake when there's that many of them. So yeah, it is just kind of a weird.
It's a fine line.
And what I was saying too when we were at Eagles Crossing was it's so different because in golf you have fairway, rough, and then OB is kind of like so far out of the way that it's there because it's important, but it's also not going to be a part of the play a ton. Whereas in disc golf, there's only fairway, then OB on courses like these that are open. So the stakes, like you can't.
They have to be in play.
Yeah, you can't punish a disc golfer with rough. Now, you could. We've thought about the idea before of doing something like, let's say there is a fairway and a rough in disc golf, and then if you land in the rough, you have to throw a standstill. Like I think that there's a potential for that, something like that existing. But right now, the way it is, it's either you're in the fairway or you're out of bounds, and so that needs to be marked by something, and it's going to be in play because it's so much closer to the field of play than it would be in golf.
Yeah. Now, one thing I'll say about Jones Supreme is this is one of the biggest things I thought course design wise is hole 1. Fantastic hole.
Not a good hole.
Not hole 1.
You do not want somebody throwing a pressure island shot in their first hole of the day.
Well, also, you don't want...
Because it just leads to OB
You
all
also
over the place.
don't want options where, like, lead card could lay up a 100-foot shot.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, here you go, blah, blah, blah. Ricky Wysocki, and he steps up and just, boop,
Personally,
100-foot, like, little putter shot.
Yeah.
And then, like, it's just very anticlimactic.
Yeah.
And then also, like, they throw a shot, it goes OB, it's just like, instant 4 to start it. I love that hole on like hole 16 or 17.
For me, hole 1, and this is an interesting subject because golf has a very clear idea of like kind of the rhythm of holes that is like traditional at least. As far as like like for golf, a lot of times you see a hole 17 be that nasty, tough hole, and then hole 18 is a hole that isn't super difficult, but it has good scoring separation, right? Because you want that on your hole 18. But hole 1 is traditionally a kind of run-of-the-mill hole. Mm-hmm. I think for disc golf, a good hole 1 is just like a simple par 4 or a tough-ish to get par 3, but not one with a ton of OB. I don't think you want a ton of players just getting crushed right off the bat with OB. Like, I think you want your lead card to be able to get off the tee. And not necessarily have it be an easy birdie hole, but yeah, I like the idea of like, okay, you're ice cold, but here you go, throw a shot that you might like. We might have everybody just go OB.
It can also change the whole field around immediately.
Yeah, it's not a great start for me.
Yeah,
I'm not a huge fan.
I called it the Ben Simmons hole because the recent topic that's been funny was on the JJ Redick podcast, and it's just also been on like part of my take and all this stuff is that Ben Simmons, if you don't know who he is, he's a basketball player who sucks at shooting. And he's left-handed when he plays basketball. He's right-handed when he does everything else. And the whole running joke is Ben Simmons just is a right-handed player. He just doesn't know it. Because like they've had him shoot right-handed, and apparently his form looks way better right-handed, and like everything's better right-handed. He just refuses to admit it. That's what hole 1 is. Hole 1's a great hole. It's just not hole 1.
It's not a hole 1.
Like that's all it is. Ben Simmons just isn't left-handed.
That hole would be phenomenal later in the round. It would be.
Yeah, that's a great hole. It's just it isn't hole 1. The final thing we're going to talk about storyline is Kristen Tatar is looking pretty incredible this season. Yeah. Her dominance index is in the 90s, the mid 90s right now.
Is that an all-time high for any division?
That's what I was saying. I think so. If you don't know what the dominance index is, it's the world ranking, UDIS world rankings, like what they use.
Be the first to break 100.
It's getting pretty far up there, which I don't fully know. Like, what does that mean? Like, if a player got to 100,
I guess it just means their percentage to beat them is lower.
The percentage to beat the field is like 100% chance.
No,
like I don't know what the dominance index. So she's at 95 on the dot, and the second and best in the world is currently Paige Pierce at 72.
Because
So
isn't Rick like 78?
Ricky is at 78. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think Kristen Tatar might have a world record going on there.
Yeah.
Katrina Allen obviously almost caught her, but she made up 5 strokes her last 2 rounds, but it wasn't enough. And this is Kristen Tatar's elite series or major finishes so far this year. She's went 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 2nd, 2nd, 1st.
Yeah.
She hasn't finished outside the top 3.
Yeah. She's
she's the only FPO player to do that.
Well, she is probably, I would say she's probably the second best thrower behind Kat as far as consistency.
She might take it over.
And then she's a significantly better putter typically. I don't know about significant. Kat's been an okay putter this year, but she's a better putter overall.
I think she's got one of the most athletic looking putts in FPO.
She has a good game. She throws far. Like she's just very consistent, and she plays pretty smart. So yeah.
All right, now before we get into Trevor's trivia, the fan favorite segment, I got to do this because obviously Worlds is coming back here in September. We just saw it. We talked about how it's going to be kind of a Worlds preview, whatever. So it wasn't a great Worlds preview because 2 of the rounds were basically faulted by the wind to where you can't get a good read on what's actually going to go down, but we're going to. And we're about to, each of us are just going to make some overreactive predictions for Worlds, judging just on this tournament. Yeah. Whatever you want that to be.
Well,
who wants to start?
I mean, Paul's not going to be there.
What is a reach? Because I feel like my prediction, based off of that, your prediction is not really a reach.
Well, I mean, it's just
it's just our
there's no
too early predictions.
Sure, we'll go too early. It's overreactive because this tournament doesn't really show us that much because of how windy it was. But we're gonna act like it shows us everything.
I mean, it's still gonna be in Kansas.
Yeah, so it'll still be some windy. So my prediction is Paul Macbeth doesn't come in the top 3 for the first time in my lifetime.
Wow.
I don't think it's actually my lifetime, but it's been at least 10 years that he comes top 3 at Worlds. Top 2 normally, actually.
That's a reasonable prediction.
Yeah, that's an interesting prediction.
I mean,
I just don't know if his Worlds mojo is enough to offset whatever just happened on the course.
Yeah, it's just going to be a matter of is this revenge game or is this just this course is cursed, he can't play there. I mean, I'll tell you this much, and I think we all Ricky is gonna win Worlds there.
Yeah, I don't even think that's overreactive.
His game is just built for that course. It has so many chip forehand upshots and
plus
so many forehand drives.
Yeah, there's also something
turnover
about
backhands all over the place. And
there's
he's
also
so good
something
at those.
about just being home in a certain way. Obviously that's not his actual home, but there's certain player when Worlds was at Ledgestone. It's a very discraft centric place. Paul won, and we've seen it a few other times where there's certain places where it's just very company centric. And Dynamic Discs Open is obviously where Worlds can be. Emporia, Kansas, obviously is very Dynamic Discs centric, and when you're there, everyone around the tournament, it's you're the hometown hero. Everyone's rooting for you.
Everybody's hyping
that
you up.
Course
it's hard for you to go in without confidence when it's your home in a certain way. Yeah. So, I mean, I think Ricky's going to win it. This one isn't overreactive at all. Kristen Tatar, I think, wins her first Worlds here.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
She was in contention at the last major. She's won back-to-back Pro Tours. She obviously can play well on this course. I think it's going to come down to Kristen Tatar or Katrina Allen.
You know what's crazy?
I don't think Paige Pierce wins World here.
You know what's crazy is Kat could win Worlds this year. That would make her a 3-time.
Yeah.
And then Paige has how many? 5?
5.
What, imagine if, the next 4 years go by and, Kat has a better resume than Paige.
If Kat can end up winning, 3 more.
Or even if she gets to 5. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because right now, Paige Pierce is just bad. She is just not playing good disc golf. She just has no command of the disc. You can tell she has all the talent, but she just has no command over the disc.
She literally won a major 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know. I understand, but
but yeah, she's awful.
She's inconsistent, is what I'm saying.
Okay,
can you agree with that? She's inconsistent. I mean,
she's still clearly a top 3 player in the world.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, most events, Kat and Kristen seem to always be near the top, whereas Paige, if she's not, it seems like she's getting crushed.
I think there's just there's a huge amount of shock value in her being so dominant.
She's went
back
to back 7th place, 5th place. So I think it's a very recency bias on what you're saying.
No, maybe there is. Maybe it's
just the last 2 weeks
she has
hasn't
shocking
had great.
bad finishes.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of shock value.
She also came in 5th place this weekend.
But 5th place in FPO for Paige is not acceptable.
No, it's not good.
It's different than saying 5th place in MPO.
The last 2 weeks is what is what's making you feel like that.
And I'm like, here's the thing too is, when she won the major, obviously you got to play good enough to win the major, but I still see her spray it around too much. It almost like that event was like what we've seen a lot in FPO, where it gets towards the end and everybody's like, no, you win, no, you win, no, you win. Mm-hmm. Like so I don't see like what I see in Paige. The reason I say that is because I see her athleticism and the way she throws a disc, and I'm like, she should just be beating everybody around.
So her season this year, she went 2nd at Vegas, 6th at Waco, 1st at Texas State, 1st at Champions Cup, 7th at Jonesboro, 5th at DDO.
Yeah, I think it's just the weird bad finishes that stick out to me, because like I said, it seems like she should always be so dominant, and then when she has just bad events like this, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And every time the coverage flashed her, I see her throw a shot and it just goes way out of bounds.
I do think that's why I don't think she's going to win Worlds here, because Paige just doesn't seem to do good when there's a bunch of OB. Like something about it, like.
That's what I'm saying. Because she
something
can scramble.
About course maintenance. Like if this was like a wooded course or something, I would feel like Paige is gonna do okay. Because typically her release points fine, but something about like in her scramble game's great. But when there's a lot of OB, I agree with you. Like U.S. Women's last year, she kind of fell off the face of the earth. It's just something when there is a lot of OB. I don't know what exactly is, but Paige is, for some reason, I feel like this way. It might not be true at all. Konner, this might be something where you're right, because I'm saying this with confidence. I just don't think Paige does well when there's a lot of OB.
Right.
In this course, your Worlds here, both courses, you're not going to get out of here unscathed by the OB. And I feel like once OB hits, it tends to snowball.
This is the reason. This is the reason that I have this bias against Paige Pierce, and because she's 37th in OB rate. 37th. The FPO field is getting stronger by the day. But 37th in any statistic for one of the best players in the world, that is...
Is that last? How big was the FPO field this weekend?
This is the whole season. 37th.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so that's even worse.
I mean, it's literally average. 37th, I think, is like the average FPO field size. It's like 40.
So that's what I'm saying is when every time I'm watching her, she's throwing the disc OB, like it adds up in my brain to where I'm like, how can I pick her to win stuff? Okay. She's got no command over the disc.
Never mind. Take it back. We know what we're talking about this time.
Yeah, you know.
We got stats.
Supported.
She's got no command over the disc.
Come after the stats.
I think it is very interesting because you said, like, it seems like she doesn't play well when there's a lot of OB. It's definitely a different game because you're playing in the woods. It's about the line you're throwing the disc on to fly, but whenever you're playing OB, it's about where you're getting the disc to stick. And it is a different skill, I think. Like, you're still doing the same thing you're saying, but you're not necessarily saying, I'm trying to hit that line in the sky. You're kind of more thinking, I need it to hyzer and stick right there.
Yeah.
So it's a different game.
It's a weird one. So I definitely think going into Worlds in September, Kristen Tatar and Katrina Allen are going to be the two to beat. Because I think that they both are very good with controlling their discs
also both,
where they land, which is kind of what you're saying.
They've also both figured out a pretty good forehand as well.
Yeah, and that's going to be crucial with OB.
Yeah,
because there's sometimes where it's just like you can't throw a turnover back.
Well, and something people don't talk about enough with having a good forehand is when there's wind and you have enough confidence to throw a forehand because you have let's say if you have a right to left wind strong, the backhand is almost always going to be bad.
Yeah.
But if you can throw a forehand, it's actually a phenomenal shot. Throw a little forehand on hyzer, it just kind of pushes it down straight.
Yeah.
Like there's countless examples where Ricky's just going to throw that shot and stomp on people with it. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. With that being said, it's time for the fan favorite segment, Trevor's Trivia.
Okay, we're bringing back a favorite this time.
Oh yeah.
And it is going to be, is it baseline?
Oh, yes.
Oh, great.
We all love it.
I do love it. How do you keep on finding all these discs?
What?
How do you continue to find ones that we don't know about?
I go to the most obscure things. I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different ones. And it's a simple question for each one. I'm going to give you a plastic name and you're going to have to answer, is it baseline? So let's get started.
All right.
The first plastic is Tiger Line.
Who's going first? I'll go first.
You can rotate, yeah.
The answer for me is it is baseline.
This is Yikun discs.
It is
and
discs.
That's as far as I know, though.
Okay, good.
I'm trying to remember
they're tricky.
Yeah, because they're.
I
want to say Tiger Line is.
I feel really confident, but it's for no reason.
What'd you say? You said.
He said it was baseline.
I feel like it is their baseline. So I'm going to stick with Konner.
Oh.
That is correct.
Yeah.
It is baseline. I have a Tiger Line hammer. So
it's not in your bag, weird.
Well, it's because it's like my slammer.
I know. I'm just kidding.
I can't do it.
No, it's your hammer.
Yep. This is a hammer.
Your face just then.
Okay, the next one is called.
Dude, that's stabbing me in
Keep
the
that,
leg.
dude.
It's called U-line durable.
U-line durable?
These
Yeah.
are that's a box.
Yeah.
Do you want to go first?
Sure. U-line durable. Oof. Tricky. Durable. Throws everything off.
Yeah.
I'm going. What the? I'm going premium. I think you tried to fake us out with the fake out.
Okay. I'm not.
I'm
It
gonna
helps,
go-
it helps you, don't it?
It does. I feel way more. It gets so much more oxygen to your brain.
It's a running technique.
Wow, that was like, what is the thing? What's the salts that they smell?
Smelling
salts.
salts.
Smelling.
What's the salt?
The thing that I hate is that I was also fairly confident that it was probably a premium disc, and
Roll the dice.
nah, I'm gonna say premium.
It is premium.
I was like, for some reason, I was so confident about it, so it would be stupid to say.
Yeah,
the other
you're
way.
right.
Two for
You're
two
right.
for both of you. Impressive. The next plastic we have is
Joke's on you. Hunter and I are on a team.
we have lift.
Hunter and I are on a team.
Lift plastic.
Ooh.
Ooh. It's you.
Lift plastic is. Hold on, let me try here. Dang, that's a tough one. That means nothing. Lift means nothing. I'm gonna go that it is a baseline plastic. It is a baseline plastic is what I'm going to say.
You know, I'm gonna go premium just to
That's fine.
mix things up.
It is a premium plastic.
Oh, get lit, Jet.
darn poopy.
Runners up one.
I'm up one.
Next we have
And one.
Never look it back.
Inspire.
Oh,
Inspire plastic.
Premium for sure.
baseline.
Thought space,
for sure.
thought space athletics. I think
It's not.
it's not.
Is that your answers?
Yeah,
I'm going
baseline.
premium.
I'm
It
going
is, it is
baseline.
baseline.
Oh, we're back to tie.
Yeah, dude.
That's actually
Baseline plastic doesn't
you
inspire
play.
you?
They do like the clinics. That's their
Oh,
only
that's their
disc. It's
disc.
their putter.
Oh
yeah.
wow.
All right.
Okay, we're back to tied now.
Yep. Next we have
okay.
granite.
That's a great name.
Is you first.
I'm gonna have to say baseline.
I feel like it's gotta be. I feel like granite's got to
not
be
cheap,
premium.
though.
Yeah, granite. Like if you're going,
It's such a weird one, isn't
if
it?
you're going on stone, like baseline's got to be like concretes or something.
Yeah.
I'm going premium. You already said baseline.
Oh, okay.
Granite is a baseline.
Oh,
You're welcome, by the
Get
way,
lit,
because
Jit.
you're about to change yours.
All right. Next we have
Maybe marble's probably like their premium.
the next
Yeah,
one
maybe.
is called S plastic.
S line
you
or
mean
just S?
S
You mean
plastic.
splastic?
S hyphen plastic. S plastic.
I have my answer, but you go.
Oh,
you
it's
do
me
your thing.
first?
Yeah, you do your thing, man.
I love this game.
You do you.
It
Boo
makes you question everything.
I know the answer.
Baseline. There's no reason to name this any. Like there's no. I don't know. Baseline.
All right, it's premium.
It is baseline.
Dang it!
What are we at? Am I up one or are we
Tied.
tied again?
Tied
Tied again.
Then 3 more.
Logic
We're all
means
over this
nothing.
game.
The next
I know.
the next plastic is called H9.
I love that, and it is a premium plastic.
I'm going premium as well. I feel like the number's too high for it to be baseline.
It is premium.
Yeah.
H9.
H9. That number. If it was H1, baseline.
Next we have advanced grip.
That's baseline.
Well, it's my turn.
Oh well, then I'm. Just
I
giving
was
you-
also
here's
going-
here's the keys.
I was also gonna go baseline.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm staying at baseline.
Okay.
It is baseline.
Yeah.
That one
Advanced
feels-
grip.
yeah.
Like
That was
that's
obvious.
the best way to spin baseline.
Yeah.
The last one.
This is it.
All tied
Hey,
up.
do you agree to go opposite? You go first. I'll go opposite
Don't
of you.
agree to that. Maybe
No,
I'll
you go.
find
You
the
go
tie-
first.
I don't care. You do
go
whatever you want.
first.
I'll,
so I'm going
find the
opposite.
tiebreaker if I need to.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going opposite of Konner.
Then,
All right.
The last one is called steady. Steady plastic.
Sound like we're in a wind tunnel.
Sounds like Emporia right now.
Steady really feels like a baseline plastic because you'd want it with your putters. I feel like, but maybe that's just because of the steady itself. Baseline, baseline, baseline.
Premium.
It's premium.
Yeah, darn it!
Come on.
I love that game. That's such a fun game.
When we were in St. Louis, we showed up to the course for the video that's coming out tomorrow. It was Carrollton Park, and we showed up, and I was like, "All right, we putted for a little bit. We talked to everyone, and like there's probably like 20 or so people out there to watch it. It was pretty cool." And I like looked over at everyone. And I was like, "All right, where's the first tee and what's the course record?" Making
Crickets.
a joke, and everyone, like, people were like, oh, the first tee's over here. I don't really know the course record. I was like, dang it. I saw a clip of John Daly doing that. He rolled up with a cigarette and a beer in his hand and just walks up to his golf cart and someone's filming him. And this is like recently. He's like, all right, where's the first tee and what's the course record? I was like, that's so funny. And it had me rolling.
It's really funny.
And I was like, people are going to laugh at that joke so hard because we suck.
I didn't even hear you say it, but I would have laughed really hard.
And so I said it, and everyone's just like, oh, first tee's around this corner. And they started walking, and the other guy looks at me and goes,
discussing the course
yeah,
record.
the other guy looks at me and goes, I think someone shot a 15 down out here once, but he doesn't know. I was like, I don't care what the course record is. We're not shooting it. He's like, you mean for doubles or singles? I was like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't.
In relation to the game we just played about the baseline plastics, one thing that I respect about Gateway is I like how some of their plastics they just name like just based off of the plastics that's in it, like Sure Grip polymer. Oh, cool. Or like nylon blend.
It
I bet
was
it's
nice.
got nylon
It
in
was nice also to hear from Gateway why soft isn't soft.
Yeah, that is very because I've always wondered that.
Everyone has. Soft is like the stiffest plastic they make, but in the plastic world, it's soft.
They're the
like compared to a car
everybody
bumper,
else just
like
doesn't know the plastic world.
Yeah,
because
I was always so confused by that. He's like, oh, well, I named it because like in a plastic world, this is a soft plastic. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, in relation to like plastics used in hospital equipment and stuff like that.
Yeah.
medical grade, man.
All right, we got to talk through. So a recent trend that's been happening a lot more this year, I feel like, than recent years was like players take to Instagram. What?
He said the dab.
Oh. Dude, I saw someone who could leg dab. They would jump and dab with their leg. It was crazy.
You knock yourself out
I
of
would
your knee.
kick myself in the head so hard.
Anyways, players have been taking to Instagram talking about, I'm just going to call it excuses.
Yeah, no.
After they play
It's
that.
been a big time. It's like my favorite thing now is seeing like what players are going to talk about for an excuse.
Obviously, last week we talked about at Jonesboro, Paul talking about the T-pads, which, some of these are valid.
At
like
least
Paul's
the T-pad one, like you brought
scrunched.
light to a problem that's with the like for the
Question
Pro Tour.
though is
it's still an excuse, but
well, but why post it? Like if it's like you just put DM the Pro Tour.
It takes. I gotta say. If that happened to me, it would take a lot of courage for me not.
No, but
to say something.
I'm saying that's what moves it into the excuse category.
Right.
Like a problem category
so
is we go to the
frustrating.
Pro Tour. Excuse category is I now go to the public. And
I think
say,
It depends on
problem
if you
was-
went to the Pro Tour first, because went to the Pro Tour first and they didn't say anything about it.
Well-
then if you post on the internet, you
Well,
got
then
a bunch of accountability.
I think that
backing it
post
up.
is something
I think
completely
the problem
different
is
then.
the problem is
okay.
because nobody saw the T-pad do that, so nobody
No,
was talking
yeah, that's
about
fair.
it. Because if everybody had seen it and already been like, oh my gosh, Paul got screwed, he wouldn't have posted it probably. It's
Yeah.
it's the fact that nobody saw it and he was like he felt injustice, and you know what? Like
I'm saying so last week
tough.
that was a talking
that
point.
sucked.
That was a talking point last week. Came from Instagram. This week we have two apparently. I forgot about the Gannon Burr post. We have
People were loving the
my
Gannon
favorite
Burr.
one. Y'all haven't seen this, so I'm gonna just read you. This is from
Okay.
Joel Freeman.
Joel Freeman has been on the money.
Yeah, this is from Joel
On the
Freeman.
money.
This
He's
is
been
Joel
on it.
Freeman's caption
Not
from
making the money,
from
but
his
on it.
post. He says the struggle continues. I played better today, but due to an unfortunate course design flaw,
He is so funny.
but due to an unfortunate course design flaw, my score shot through the roof, and I made almost no progress today. The Disc Golf Pro Tour standards are getting higher and higher each day, thanks to a lot of people. For that, I'm grateful, but disc golf has a ways to go. For now, I've just got to accept it and do the best I can with what I've got. Failure never feels good, but I'm endlessly grateful to be healthy and have the opportunity to compete on the Pro Tour. And then obviously, people didn't just accept that at face value because, like, okay. And then he said,
gotta go into more detail.
He said, into more
on that,
detail.
yeah.
He said, rivers crossing through fairways should never happen, but trees growing out of rivers crossing through fairways is a whole different level of not okay. Disc golf already has so much inevitable luck involved. I believe we should limit the luck factor in whatever ways we can.
What?
Why?
Why
So
is that
basically-
no rivers through
Don't-
fairways?
Yeah, what's wrong?
So
with that?
basically, he was
Don't
talking
throw
about
it
hole
into the river.
14.
Were the trees moving?
Yeah, don't
It
throw
was windy. He was talking about hole 14, which is a par 4,
I need
and
to
the
see
green
this.
is essentially somewhat of an island. There's a river through the fairway. Green's on this side. It's a par 4. And then apparently there's trees. I didn't see what happened with his shot. We can kind of all assume that he threw what he thought was a good shot. It hit a tree and fell in the river.
Or
What
like
we can all assume.
Or he threw like a
Yeah.
good shot and like I guess a tree like fell and his disc down or something.
My favorite
I was
line
so
of all
unlucky.
time is, I
is
played
at-
better today, but due to an unfortunate course
This is
design
at which
flaw, my
course?
score shot through the roof.
Which course is this? The second one or the first one?
I looked it up this morning. I want to say it's at Supreme.
Jones Supreme.
I mean, I like Joel Freeman,
Hole
but saying
14.
that there being a river and trees in a fairway,
I need to
is
see
not
it with
luck.
my own
Like,
eyes because
because that does not feel like a luck.
First of all,
situation.
why is a river going through the middle of the fairway?
A bad thing?
Does he mean? What does he mean? Like
No, it cut
with
across.
The fairway?
It cut across.
Cutting across fairway. What do you mean? It's not going anywhere. Lay up or go over it.
That's
like,
what I'm saying. Like it's
that's
not,
I just love.
that's stupid.
The whole reason I even brought this up is the line's so funny to me. Unfortunate course design flaw. My score shot through the roof.
That is for sure loser.
That's
talk.
my best. I'm in the midst of writing a blog of your best disc golf excuses, and I've got to add that in now.
An unfortunate
course design
The
flaw.
best part is how eloquent he is. Okay,
Yeah.
here's the drone shot of hole 14, par 4, 700 feet. So we're going around the fairway here. Okay, and then yeah, there's the basket, and there's the trees in the river, and there is a clear amount of gaps. There's so many gaps.
They're tight gaps. That's fair.
Yeah, but they're there.
So I'm guessing he hit one of those trees and fell in the river on what he thought was a good shot. That's all. That's the only thing I can assume.
which I guess I can understand. I can understand that'd be frustrating,
I'm just bamboozled because
but it's not. You're not throwing through a windmill though.
yeah, and look at that. Those gaps aren't that crazy. Like there was a wide hyzer gap that was pretty wide for a Pro Tour standard. That's loser talk.
Yeah, but that part when I read it, I just died laughing. Like I'm gonna say, man, I was playing incredible with that unfortunate course design flaw. Maybe take a 8 there, and then I bogeyed 6 more holes after because I couldn't get out of my mind.
Fairway should never happen. That one gets me.
Yeah, that's a shocking.
It's called
statement.
a water hazard. Like what?
I don't know.
How do you think? Okay.
But I mean, that was a good one. The Gannon Burr.
That is crazy confidence to talk like that.
Yeah.
Gannon Burr's post. I got to
Gannon's
bring
a classic. The second one is whatever, but the first. So
I have not seen this
Gannon
post,
Burr,
and I'm very excited.
Gannon
to hear
Burr
about it.
basically posted a video of him spitting out a putt dead center and him going, whatever, played pretty well today, but unfortunately I had 2 of these.
Two of these bad boys yesterday cost me a spot on the lead
and
card.
he proceeds to show this video of him throwing a putt from like 20 feet away, 700 miles an hour, high, nose up or nose down, whatever, didn't matter, like high center, and yeah, it kicked it out, but like you threw your putt 100 miles an hour.
You've got to be,
Believe me, I'm a very big proponent for like, it sucks for like, I hate when baskets take strokes from people, but when you putt that hard. The second one he posted wasn't as bad. I was like, yeah, that's kind of dirty. But the first one, I'm like, dude, you slammed
He took
that.
Yeah, I mean that first putt,
He ripped it in there.
He took he
if those were
responded to
prodigy
someone.
baskets, I would get his reasoning for doing that. But
Yeah, that's the thing is like you have to have a putt that is going to work on most
he's
baskets.
not even 20 feet.
Yeah,
he's probably 15 feet.
He launched that thing.
And with all of that 7-foot arm, he's just sprinting that into the basket.
Like there has to be a line of how hard you're able to putt on a basket before there's a good chance it spits out, right?
Like I understand. Like it is frustrating that baskets are inconsistent in disc golf and that baskets fail in disc golf.
To me though, that wasn't inconsistent.
Part of the game right now is knowing how to putt on baskets.
So
and
Gannon said, for me, it's because the wind is ripping so hard, so I had to putt hard. But lots of baskets have this issue. Only the Mach X seems to consistently catch when we have to putt a million miles an hour. Haha.
I mean, I get that.
But that's fair.
That is fair, but
I'm gonna be honest,
that's a good argument.
I saw your text, whoever sent this originally, and said how fast he putted. I don't see it.
Really? The
That
first
putt
one?
does, yeah,
It looks like
this
he's
one.
ripping it.
This putt does not look that crazy hard to me.
I mean, look how much speed is coming off of the pole with.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard.
Almost the second one looks like it's a harder putt.
No, I mean, here's the thing: veterans baskets in general are not.
I will
the
say
most
it's
consistent
high.
baskets.
I would say what was wrong with that putt is it's high. I wouldn't say the speed has anything.
I
to do
think
with
the
it.
biggest.
I mean, it has to do with it putting, backing out.
The
but
problem is
it's too
for
high.
these pro players and for basket manufacturers. When have we ever seen when is the last time a new basket even came out? It's been a while, I feel like. And B, when has anybody with their baskets ever released it and then really given you any science behind what they're doing with it? They kind of just like, here's another layer of galvanized chains.
Yeah.
Right? So there's not really a lot going on in the basket innovation when it's like the most important, well, the second most important part of equipment in our sport, if not the first important. Like, I've always been a bit confused at why nobody's really going after the science of baskets. I actually had this thought the other day about baskets that I had never thought of before, which is So obviously a lot of the baskets I use have that flat metal band around the top.
Yeah, this is
why don't they wrap the bucket in the same material and give it a smooth surface? I understand it will cost more, but right now the reason you get so many rollaways off the cage is because you get inconsistent hits off the cage. Where if you make it all smooth, it would. And it's the easiest thing ever. I'm saying is like
I think you would get the same amount of rollaways, but it would be more consistently.
But I'm just saying like that thought took me 2 seconds to think of. Why is nobody ever thinking about changing?
And also,
baskets?
then you can get rid of all the stupid rules about how it comes to rest on the cage.
Exactly. You would eliminate the whole jam in the cage thing. But I'm just saying like nobody's putting thought into new baskets.
I'm sure people are.
Well, it's not. We're not making them. But then like,
well, it might be a lot of testing, experimenting going on behind the scenes.
Well, it's just been a long time since anything like that has happened.
Well, it might be like they're testing, experimenting, but nothing's been better than what they've got out there right now.
I guess.
Because for the most part, disc golf baskets are very good.
They're fine.
For the most
they're
part.
fine. I think the bigger problem though is that they need to standardize it on tour.
They're going to.
Basket
The Pro Tour's
use.
already talked about they're going to. The issue is the Pro Tour going to design their own or have a manufacturer buy it.
Sell it.
I agree, but I think they're leaning towards their own.
That'd be interesting. I mean, that'd be interesting. I think that the end of a disc catcher is my favorite basket.
I agree.
I think they're the ones I enjoy putting on the most.
They seem the most fair to me.
I also think that once you standardize the basket on the tour, the players lose a lot of their excuse because every basket has a putt that's going to go in every time.
And you just need to develop that putt.
And so players can learn that how they need to putt on the basket, and that'll help them so much.
I am running myself through the situation that Gannon Burr was in right now, where I'm just thinking about how confidently I throw that putt and it hits dead center and then just spits out with so much might.
You're sick to your stomach.
It'd be frustrating. And then after that, like, you're like, okay, so do I putt with less confidence?
Yeah, I mean, it's
a frustrating situation.
You definitely go back to your buddies and tell them all about the spit out, but I don't know if I post it on Instagram.
Well, that's what I think is funny is like the Instagram right now.
It's become like the huddle up after the round.
Yeah.
That's
like
what it's become.
Yeah.
I don't know where or what's the best practice, but like right now, Instagram a lot of times is being used, and this is by players across the board.
It's the bus
as like
nationals.
my summary. Like, this is what I just did out there. This disc worked really well for me. Blah, blah, blah. Like, that's the template. And so when something didn't go your way, it's I'll just throw it up on Instagram of this is what happened. This is why I didn't play good today. When there's some days you just didn't play good, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like,
you know what? If you spit out dead center twice and lost by 2 strokes, I'll feel very bad for you.
Yeah.
But until you did that,
yeah.
You know.
But like Instagram right now, like I don't know what positive comes from those posts. Yeah, I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Because like some people are gonna see it and be like, dang, that sucks, and they're gonna think negatively about the basket and the basket manufacturer through your post.
Well,
or they're gonna look at you and be like what Trevor just said. Okay, well you lost by more than 2. Or
I love it. I encourage all the players
I think it's
to keep
funny.
doing it.
I enjoy it. I'm just saying from a player standpoint, like
it's not a good look for
if
a
you
player.
played bad. Just, if you're going to make a post after you play bad, like not my week. Congrats to the winner.
I think players are just so scared that people are going to lose hope in them whenever they continue to lose tournaments.
That might be it.
And
too.
so they try.
It could just be the mental battle.
But it's
of
okay. Like this happened. That's why I didn't do well.
That could just be the mental battle of convincing yourself that it's something outside of your control that's making you not win.
Yeah.
Because it is a lot easier to swallow that.
Yes.
If like X, Y, or Z caused me to suck today,
like
and
a
it
river
wasn't
through the fairway.
Yeah, and like the course design flaw caused my score to shoot through the roof. That's a lot easier to swallow than I had a bad day out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That could just be it.
Blame everything else.
All right, so we got to talk through. Last week we had the opportunity to play Eagles Crossing finally. That video will be coming out next Tuesday. Not tomorrow, but the week after.
Yeah.
Our battle out there. So we won't spoil anything about the battle. But this course, obviously it's been open for a little over a year now. They shut down for the offseason. I think they did a little bit more this offseason.
I think we got to break it down to course review, business review.
Yeah. So the course...
Start with the course review.
The course itself...
And this is like in the terms of, this is in the scope of every disc golf course we've played, not thinking about anything else.
I will say,
it's the best I've played.
I was say, I'm trying to just think through.
It is.
I think in every aspect, it's the best course I've played. There were still some dumb things in it. That happens.
There was like
it's definitely the most well manicured.
I think that's what it is too. Is the tee pads? And when I say tee pads, like there wasn't anything special about what you're throwing on. Around the tee pads were very like attention to detail oriented,
and the tee pads gave you plenty of space.
Yeah.
Everything was very nice.
you never questioned the OB or anything like that.
Yeah.
Stakes, we talked about how that could come into play, but for casual round out there, it's very easy to know what's inbound, what's not. And UDisc, they were up to date on, they had all 3 pins in, which I had never seen. This is like a pretty cool feature on UDisc part. This is the first time I've seen it used, where like when I was looking at the UDisc map, it had A, B, and C pins in.
That's cool.
And the C pin, which is what most of them were in, was highlighted.
Yeah.
So you knew what
nice.
pin to go to and stuff.
That's cool. That's very cool.
And yeah, the course signs weren't up, the T signs weren't up, but they're in the process of getting them, so you can't knock any points there.
Yeah.
It would have been somewhat confusing, but had we not had UDisc and people who had played it before.
We also had a sick caddy book that they gave us.
Caddy book also helped, but
with like a drone
a
shots.
lot of that too is going to be covered by the course sign, so I'm not going to take anything off for that. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think it was definitely the best manicured course I've ever played. Design-wise, I think it
felt very professional.
It was very challenging,
good.
very professional. I think the only hole that I was like, this is kind of dumb, was we threw down like a gravel road as the fairway. I didn't really like that.
And it was nothing else like that.
No.
It was like a weird anomaly on that
but
course.
the hole that we played was okay. It was a fine hole. It was just weird that you're playing on a gravel road.
Yeah, literally like
Because
my
you're
disc up.
guaranteed to destroy your disc.
Also, other thing that was weird about the course is the zoo animals.
Yeah, the
Just
fake zoo animals
fake
are
zoo animals,
super
and some of them
weird.
are in play. We hit a turtle.
I
Like
can't
a fake
explain it
turtle.
to you, but I enjoyed that part of it. I was scared to say
enjoyed
something,
it.
but I liked it.
I had fun playing.
They're fun
looking
to
at
look
it,
at,
but
but, like-
imagine a pro tour or a major being there.
There's like a
and
giraffe.
they're like, "Oh man, Ricky's punch has hit off the mouth of the turtle and is now rolling away."
Yeah, I guess I see
Like,
that.
I mean,
But
and that's a realistic thing.
There was only like 2 times where an animal was in play.
And it was only on the first like 6 holes.
yeah, it wasn't like
Most
I liked them in
after-
the woods alongside the holes. I thought it was kind of fun.
I would have liked it better
Yeah,
if
but why
they were
do we want
actual
it to
woods
be
animals.
Do you want to ever describe a major or like high level courses? That was kind of fun. That was cute.
Yeah, I guess so.
My
or like
biggest-
when we were walking down the stairs and that railroad crossing went off. Like that was a
Yeah.
cute little feature.
Yeah.
I never want to say that about a course.
Yeah, it
though.
felt like
I don't want to be
mini
like
golf.
that was a cute little.
That was like,
feel-
that was
You're
like
not
mini
going to
golf.
walk off a PGA Tour course and be like, "Hey, I loved that cute little feature on 15." By the way,
Yeah, you're right.
You
You're
want
right.
it to be beautiful.
Well, I bet disc
Yeah.
golfers will.
Oh, yeah,
If that's ever on coverage, disc golfers will go crazy. I love the animals. Look at that. It's so fun how they did that on this course. That's exactly what
they can say
Ian
that.
Anderson's going to say.
That's fine,
Yeah.
and we'll roast them
yeah.
yeah.
because that was a stupid part of the course.
I'm
but that was
sorry.
the,
I didn't mean to.
That was the only
vamp on
negative.
that for so
I think
long.
that was the only negative. Was the
Yeah.
those animals don't understand what the heck they were there for. The water features on this course, I still
Insane.
can't figure out. I
There were,
think they
was
made
there
them.
4 or 5?
I think there
of
were
them?
6.
6
It was
lakes.
so cool.
There was
I
so
think,
many lakes.
I think they put them in for the course because it
Yeah.
was too perfectly laid out. They either did an
Yeah.
incredible job designing it around lakes that already existed, or
I think they
put
made
them
them.
in.
They're man-made lakes for sure.
Yeah.
But were they there before
That's
they
what
designed
that.
the
Yeah,
course?
yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like they weren't. Because
I
the
don't
way
know.
the course was designed, it flowed very well, and it's weird for it to flow. Dave McCormick, the guy from Gateway, was the designer, I believe. That was either masterfully designed around water features that already existed, or they
Yeah.
were put in.
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 options, and both
It was
are very
electric.
incredible.
The landscaping was just incredible. Like all the walls, like there
Yeah.
were next to the
Yeah.
water holes, there would be walls around the
They
baskets. and
moved
it was,
so
it was
much.
So
They
cool.
moved so much rock to make that
Yeah, I
course giant.
And
rock
every
stairs.
fairway minus the gravel one had grass in it, even the wooded ones.
Yeah,
They
which
were
is very
grassy
cool, too.
fairways, and you can tell that they intentionally planted that for the hole because as soon as you got to the rough, it was rough. It was like leaves and thorns and stuff, but the fairway were all grass.
It was such a good.
It was incredible.
It was such a good variety of different holes. You had wide open fairways with staked OB. You had some tighter wooded holes. You had the water carries, par 3s, 4s, 5s, island holes. It was really fun.
And it
And
was very
along the OB
challenging.
in the woods, where the OB stakes were, there were also white bands around the trees. higher up.
Yes.
that
So
was
if
a
there
really
was
nice
elevation,
touch.
you could see the OB from where you were.
Very nice touch.
And they gave us
It'd be a
since-
great idea at New London.
They said since we
Yeah.
were doing a match, they gave us rope that was enough length to pull between the
Stake
2
to stake,
stakes.
yeah.
To make sure you were inbounds or out of bounds. But
It's a very good course. I think what we decided just from the only thing that deflated us a little bit from a course standpoint is knowing that is the number 7 ranked course in the world. So not that it's a bad course, but once you play a course like that, and it was a phenomenal disc golf course, but once you play a course that's ranked that highly and you know that it really doesn't get much better than this at all, it's a little bit of a sobering thought.
so what would make it much better though?
Like in the scope of disc golf, like as far
No,
as what exists right now,
no, in
there's not really
general.
anything. Well, like you said,
I disagree with the statement of I don't think number 7 it being like, oh, there's only like this is the peak. It was what I expected the peak to be. Like in the scope of disc golf, I'm like, there's nothing you could really do better minus that one hole.
I just think that, like I said, I think it's just a sobering thing.
Why did it deflate you?
Because like you just played what is. Like,
so what would you expect better for the number 7 course in the world?
Even more grand holes. Like there were still some holes out there that weren't like crazy memorable. Like, and then there was also like the landscaping was amazing, but it wasn't perfect. Like the grass wasn't perfect there. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's even attainable right now. I'm just saying for me, it was like, oh wow, that was it. I've just played one of the best courses in the world. I've done it now. And like, it was amazing, but like, I know now that I won't play a course really better than this. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
Now, when it came to, I think the only thing that deflated me on my impressions of the course were more the business side of the course, which was So let's set the premise of this. 20 minutes away from the course was a small town. If you live near us, it's kind of like the size of Bedford is how I would describe it. If not, just picture a normal small town. So it had your Wendy's, it had a few hotels and stuff like that. But once you left, the 20-minute drive was just through farmland.
Yeah, desolate.
So there's nothing closer than that 20-minute town. So 20 minutes away is as close as you can get, an hour away from St. Louis. And then you get out there, and it's just a disc golf course on the property. I don't think there's much more they could do to that property. I think it was incredible. But it was $25 a person per round for the weekday rate. I think it's 30-something for the weekend.
35, I think.
35 for the weekend rate.
That.
And then
per player.
For someone to walk alongside you was $12 just to walk the course. So for us, we had 4 people that we paid for. The 2 people were battling, Trevor and I. That's $100, and then $12 for Konner to walk alongside us and film. So it's $112 to get around out there, which I think is just too expensive. And from a business aspect, this course, and they also had like 10 employees out there.
Right.
Unless this course's goal is just to exist as a course, if this course's goal is to make money, unfortunately, I don't think it survives more than 2 or 3 years.
The amount of land that they have and the amount of equipment that they need to operate to maintain that land and keep it in its current shape, it does seem like they're going to need to generate quite a bit of money to pay the staff to do that. And even just generating enough to pay a few like decent salaries. Like we were out there on a weekday, but we may have seen 2-3 other people on the course.
Yeah. Because I will say, I think that pay to play courses that maintain themselves are possible. Yeah. But in today's disc golf climate, that's possible in Florida. Because that's the other thing, because we're in Missouri, so it's not even open the whole year because it's winter. But I think it's got to be somewhere like Charlotte, Dallas, Florida, California, somewhere where there's a ton of disc golfers. It's got to be close to the city where there is a ton of disc golfers. And the price has got to be something where people are willing to play like 3, 4, 5 times a month. Yeah. Because we walked out of there and I was like, if I lived in St. Louis and this course was an hour away and it was $25 for me to play around, I'm maybe playing it once a month, but during the
season, once a month.
More than likely, I'm playing it like once every other month or something.
Yeah,
because like
just enough to get your fix.
Yeah,
but also
New
it's
London
not like
is an incredible course. It's in our backyard. I don't even think I play that once a month.
You know,
because it's also a challenging course to where you're not just going out there, tossing around having fun. Because if you're out there, you want to play the course that gives you the experience. So you're not going to really play red tees unless you're just having fun. Especially if you pay $25. I want the experience.
Course.
Yeah, and so I'm not playing that as my like every day. I'm going out there playing that course.
Yeah,
it's practically a day trip.
I think
playing New London is practically a day trip.
I think that's what actually it is, Hunter. That kind of deflated me is knowing how often I'd play that course. Because for me to get my disc golf fix, I don't need that course. Yeah. So it's fun to play every once in a while. But I think that's what it was for me. It was kind of like, oh, like that was fun, but like I could have a lot of fun playing other disc golf courses.
Yeah. It was a great experience, but I think that the course itself, I don't think there's much you can do better. And I think that a Pro Tour or something like that there, I believe they said there's Wi-Fi on the whole property, like above and beyond what's necessary.
Yeah, there's no doubt if you're around that area, you need to go check it out.
And I think that you will, by the course, you will not be disappointed at all. No part of the course where you walk off that course and be like, that sucked. Nothing.
Yeah, no.
I don't even, sounds crazy. I don't even think I saw a stick in the fairway.
No, yeah.
It was pretty, as good as a disc golf course
you will definitely walk away
get.
thinking that was the best golf course at disc golf.
I think you drive up. in shock because you're like, wow, it looks incredible.
And I think the guy managing the Pro Tour did an incredible job. He was like, "Have you been here before?" When I said no, he opened the caddy book, walked me through the keyholes, walked me through
Pro Shop.
What did I say?
Pro Tour.
Oh, sorry, Pro Shop. Walked me through the caddy book, walked me through what the stakes meant, walked me through what to expect out there, yada yada yada. Went on through it out. Like the only time I've had that experience is at an actual golf course.
They have a great model if they lived 10 minutes away from thousands of disc golfers.
If they were in St. Louis,
they might have a chance.
Yeah.
And mostly everybody that's playing there probably is driving an hour to play there.
And if they were in St. Louis and it cost $10 a round.
It's like a disc golf trip to go play that course, even if you live in St. Louis.
And I think that might also be somewhat of their model is like people are going to travel in to play this course and be there for a weekend. And I think that'll be a great time. People are going to have a ton of fun when they do that. I just hope it's around for the long haul because like I said, it's not super close to everything or anything for that matter. So there's not a big population in the immediate area. $25 a round. In the future, that might not be that much for disc golf, but the tough part with disc golf is there's so many free-to-play courses that you can get your fix without paying.
I think now that we're talking about it, that's where I'm
So
getting to.
A pay-to-play course needs to be in like the $10 realm, or if you're going to 25 during season or something, you better be somewhere where if everyone plays that course, let's say everyone plays that course like once every other month, you better be somewhere where that still keeps the course busy.
Yeah.
And that's the issue I think I'm running into is like people who are in that area.
That's expensive.
When it first opens, you're going to be busy this first few weeks.
Imagine if you want to play that. Like, imagine if you're an avid disc golfer that plays 3 times a week. You can't be going out you go out there once a week and you might have just spent $100 a month.
I think whenever we were out there and the time we were out there, we saw 2 other cards.
It is just an interesting thing. It's an interesting model.
Pay to play. We've talked about it before. It is in some aspects the future of the sport, but park golf will never disappear. And I think park golf never disappearing means the pay to play model.
It's always gonna be tough.
It's got to be close to a populated city, and it's got to be cheap enough.
I think the pay to play too. It's got to do extra. My vision for a pay to play is you go somewhere popular like Charlotte, and you have a course that is. I think you also do this with a course that's more beginner friendly. Not definitely fun for the pros too, but like somewhere in the middle. And then you do a restaurant. A really, really nice big disc golf shop. Like you got to add to it. If it's just a disc golf course.
This course added some. So like the driving range was a great touch.
It did.
Plenty of putting to warm up area.
The location is the biggest
The
problem.
The location's the tough. And the pro shop.
It sufficed.
It was okay.
They had the pro shop, as far as what you were going to get at a disc golf place, it was really good. They had a decent selection of discs. It was okay. And then they had a full fridge, full of different beverages, and a full shelf of snacks. And like that's really cool. It was also really cool that it looped back at hole 9, so you're able to go into the pro shop at hole 9.
It was very confusing how much other stuff they had there other than disc golf stuff because I don't know, like there wasn't anything else on the property.
Yeah, well here's the thing.
But disc golf, so there was like
the guy explained to me that entrance fee also gets you access to the trails wherever those are.
So there are trails
and a sculpture. I guess there's a sculpture museum or something somewhere on there. But like, who's going to that? But then they also said you're able to rent a fishing pole and fish while on the course. But then they give out tee times at this place. So when you give out tee times, you're like expecting a pace of play. Like, how are you gonna have a guy casting his rod into a par 3 when you're like waiting to throw? Mm-hmm. So like that's a cool model if you're like a pretty like deserted course and you're just a park or whatever. And you're like, go out and fish while you're playing disc golf. But like for like a tee time pro status like disc golf course, it was weird.
I feel like the park and stuff, like if that's adding value, then there should be like a disc golf only price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you either have to be like, okay, this isn't adding value, or
it's such a weird one. People are I hope people don't get the wrong idea from this because like at the end of the day, what that course says it is, which is one of the best, it is. It is a phenomenal.
Like I was saying, I don't think you can make the course better.
I played so many holes out there. I would say at least half of the holes made me go wow, like made me just say wow.
I just think
so good.
The pricing and location makes it a very.
It's just gonna be tough.
It's just tough for me to imagine unless because I mean also like I said I saw 8 to 10 employees, and they were all on different gators and farm equipment.
Yeah,
like we're talking probably hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
It's so much land. Like, you gotta pay for gas to run.
It's got to be hundreds of thousands.
They had a gas pump on the land. I don't
According
know if you guys saw
to them, they're draining those lakes
Once a week?
Once a week.
Yeah, I think I heard from the guy that they drain it once a week to look for disc. That's a lot.
That's what I'm saying. Is like you're talking
water.
hundreds of thousands of dollars of revenue needed just to pay to keep the course maintained year to year. And when you're looking at
tax write-off,
when you're looking at that, like if it's something where this guy, and this could be it, just loves disc golf and is willing just to pour all this money in just to get the enjoyment out, and he doesn't care if he loses all of it every year, then yeah, this course is going to be around for the long haul. But if it's something where the course needs to maintain itself, I don't think this thing's here.
Can you get a tax write-off for like environmental improvement? Like, I wonder if like he can dump money into it and then just write it off.
Well, I mean, it's a business, so if the business is losing $500,000 every year, that comes off his income.
Yeah, so maybe that's what he's willing
to do.
Well, yeah, so I guess maybe that's what he's willing to do.
Maybe.
It's all about taxes.
I don't know.
Everything always comes down to taxes, guys.
It was an incredible course.
It was an
so
incredible
good.
course, and I just wish it was closer to civilization and like $10 around.
Yeah.
I think if those two things were true, if we were in St. Louis and we drove 10 minutes or 20 minutes to this course and we paid $10 a round, I mean, this course is probably...
Yeah, I played a ton.
Yeah, I mean, then I'm thinking I might play this course once a week.
Yeah,
and
certainly.
like stuff like that. And plus, I didn't see season pass pricing or stuff like that because that could change things if you live close enough.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's an interesting one.
My hot take on it was that we've talked about this a good bit on this podcast of if for some reason Winthrop said you can't do USDGC here anymore, what would be the USDGC course? And I think this is the first course that I've seen that felt promising.
I think you transplant this into Charlotte, and you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It being out there is kind of a difficult spot.
Because the other thing that makes USDGC so special is the amount of people that come to that event.
Yes,
Yeah,
you're right.
You would lose.
You would lose. Like
You're right.
spectators aren't. We're not at this point where spectators are traveling.
Yeah.
That far, because now
They
again,
will, but not enough of them.
Again, you're making it where the closest spectators are really going to be is an hour, realistically. They're
Yeah.
a big city, and so you have to already factor out a lot of people aren't going to drive that hour. So now you've lost some spectators, and then now people we aren't at a point in disc golf where people are really flying in.
Yeah.
When you're in Charlotte, you got which Rock Hills, South
You
Carolina,
can grab
very
the whole
close to
East
Charlotte.
Coast, pretty much.
Yeah, then everyone is within a few hour drive. Like a ton, so if you expand that to 4 hours, and this might be true in St. Louis area, I don't know, but if you expand Charlotte to 4 hours, there's so many disc golfers within that sphere, but you can guarantee probably close to 1,000 disc golfers or 1,000 spectators from within a 30-minute circle.
I would love
and that's
to
what's
see,
so special about
I would
it.
love to see the PDGA, or maybe Statmando can even do this, but somebody do like a heat map of where the biggest concentration of disc golfers are in the country.
Why do I feel like I've seen that?
He's done it with pros, with like over 1,000
okay.
rated pros or whatever. I want to see, so you can because really, if you're the pro tour and you really want to generate a lot of ticket revenue, that's how you should be scheduling your events, is based on a heat map of where all the disc golfers are. Like, you should be like trying purposely to target those areas, and maybe they already are. But yeah, I'd be curious to see what that looks like.
Another reason why something like USDGC wouldn't be able to be held there is think about whenever we're at USDGC, how many cars are driving in and out, how much traffic there is. That road to get in there isn't wide enough.
Yeah.
You have to pull off the road to let someone pass you.
well, also
So if there's
October
two
in
people
Missouri is probably pretty cold.
Also true.
True. That's very true.
Yeah. But I don't know. It was a great course, fantastic course. If you ever have the chance to go play it, I definitely recommend it.
If you're in that area, you'd be silly not to play it if you want disc golf.
Yeah. Or if you're ever going to be close to that area.
It's drive to it.
As a disc golfer,
It's
you've got to
certainly-
experience it
it's
once.
certainly worth it.
It's definitely worth paying $25 to play it once.
Yes.
I just don't know if it's worth paying $25 regularly to play.
Yes.
But I don't think any disc golf course is, in my personal opinion. Because
Yeah. Well, we haven't played number
That's what
one
it is.
yet. We're going to
Maple
play
Hill.
that later.
Yeah, and I'll be curious to see Maple Hill's pricing structure when we get up there as well. Get a good comparison.
I can tell you.
All right. Well, there you have it. That's the only episode for this week. There's no Pro Tour this weekend. There is the grand opening if you live close, May 7th, 3
Or if
p.m.
you don't live close.
Or if you don't live close.
Let's see how our spectators get out. You know?
Yeah. We'll all be there in shop May 7th. Grand opening of the shop is 3 p.m. Eastern Time, Foundation versus the Nation. The signups are still up. I think there's only 10 spots left, 10 or 12 spots left in that event. And then obviously, if you don't sign up to play the event, you're more than welcome to come watch us play New London. It's going to be a great time. And that's going to be at 9 a.m. Eastern on Saturday, May 7th. So all that's happening this weekend.
I got the tee time prices for you so you can get a knee-jerk reaction.
Okay.
This is their winter rates. They had this going from, so it will increase probably, but they had this going from January till March. their weekday round. So they charge cheaper if you do it online, considerably cheaper. But if you do online, your weekday price is $5. Your weekend price was $10.
So you could essentially during the weekday play 5 rounds in Maple Hill in March.
I think.
For one
This
round
is
at
the
Eagles
non-winter
Crossing.
rates are $10 online weekday, $18 weekends online.
So you get 2 rounds in at Maple Hill for the cost of 1 round at Eagles Crossing. Essentially, is what it boils down to. But the thing is, like,
there's another business running on that property. That's the difference.
Well, I think I would end up spending more money per month at Maple Hill than I would at Eagles Crossing.
Because time,
it's $10. I'm thinking to myself, oh shoot, like I literally said, I'd play $10. I'd play once a week.
Right.
That's $40.
That's what I wonder if like.
That's the different model is like when it's that cheap.
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, oh, it's only $10. I'll go play multiple times.
Yeah.
Whereas $25, I'm like, I could though just go to a closer course that's for free.
I wonder if Eagles Crossing has like figured out their pricing sweet spot yet. They probably haven't to where like
I don't think they have.
Yeah.
They
It's
can
35 on the weekend. Like I've played. I mean, you can play so many golf rounds for 35.
But at least they can kind of like justify a tiny bit by having the reputation of #1 course. So,
Maple Hill?
Yeah.
Maple Hill's cheaper though.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is that like whatever they charge, it feels justified because they have that title. You know what I mean? So
Definitely helps.
But I think like $10 to $15 like for a very, very good course, like that makes sense.
yes, I agree.
And especially like I don't know how close Maple Hill is to a bunch of other stuff, but like that price makes sense. But all right, that's gonna wrap it up. We'll talk to you all next week.